Both the volatile politics of race and immigration is already defining the upcoming presidential election. The historic numbers of migrants illegally crossing the U.S. Mexico border has put the issue front and center of Donald Trump's campaign.
We have people coming in, millions and millions of people coming in. They're coming in from prisons, they're coming in from mental institutions, they're terrorists.
Donald Trump is anointed by God.
Why are more black Americans flocking to his Make America Great Again movement?
He, without a shadow of a doubt, and I say it all the time, the blackest president that we've ever had.
After cruising to victory in Nevada, South Carolina, and Michigan, the former president is now preparing for the first of his criminal trials in New York.
He needs to win to protect his skin, yes.
Joe Biden's age and whether he is mentally fit to run the country has been called into question.
My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I've become president.
But Democrats insist he is ready to fight and are standing by him.
No, Mr. Trump, you will not win Nevada. And anyone who wants to dismantle our democracy, you're gonna have a fight on your hands.
I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, a crucial swing state which could decide the result of the upcoming presidential election. It is a city with high unemployment and an education system that is still segregated. This was once the largest slave port in the United States, where thousands of Africans were trafficked to work on plantations. And over a quarter of the population in this state is black. So it is one place that Joe Biden cannot afford to lose if he wants to win a second term in the White House. But in order to do so, he will need the overwhelming support of African Americans, many of whom now appear to be turning to Donald Trump. Most people here support the Democrats, like 65-year-old Lincoln. He recently voted for Biden in the party's first official presidential primary, but says he's struggling to understand why a lot of his friends are now jumping on the Trump train.
If you look at the Republican Party now, not the Reagan Party, it's the Donald Trump Party. It's a whole different ball game. And I mean, to be honest with you, I'm gonna put it in this term and use this term. I think he's the mark of the beast halfway. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, from the way he communicating. You understand? For a man can't do no wrong, he want them to look like he God. Thou shouldn't have no other God before thee. And so anytime we put ourselves in a position to look at a man higher than he's supposed to, the good books say look at no man higher than you're supposed to. You understand?
How do you feel about that?
Because you're dealing with Reagan was not a dictator. Trump is a dictator.
So why do you think there are so many black people here in your community now supporting him?
Promises. Promises. You understand? And to be honest with you, it's very confusing. Because if you look at what the Democrats have done for the black community, you understand? I don't understand how they must allow themselves to get persuaded within that. And so therefore, it really got me puzzled. I can't understand if, I try to add it up, I can't add it up. It's disturbing.
But there are some African Americans who appear to be unhappy with Biden. 61% of them voted for him in 2020, compared to just 8% for Trump. No Republican presidential candidate has ever won more than 12% of the black vote in nearly half a century.
I'm just honored to still, the president keeps me around. I think I've proven my loyalty to the mission to help make America great again.
But Pastor Mark Burns, one of Trump's most vocal supporters who rejoined on the campaign trail, says he believes a change is coming.
South Carolina is Donald J. Trump country!
He's among the first high-profile black leaders who endorsed the former president in 2016. So why do you think people continue to be surprised when they see black men like you, for example, stood alongside Donald Trump, speaking up on his behalf and going all the extra mile in supporting him?
Donald Trump has busted on the scene and has changed the game regarding how the Republicans interact with the black community. I mean, he, without a shadow of a doubt, and I say it all the time, the blackest president that we've ever had.
There'll be a lot of people, Mark, who will be so surprised to hear you say that Donald Trump is the blackest president ever in American history.
I believe it. We're not talking about the color of his skin. We're talking about policies. Black people even know that Barack Obama didn't do a lot for the minority community. So let's quit playing that game. Black people know. I was proud. I voted for him twice. I was very proud and still proud that we, the hands that once picked cotton in America, now then picked a president of the United States of America. So I was very proud that we have America pick a black president. Now, moving past the emotionalism of it, the policies that Barack Obama put forth did not help the black community.
When you talk to him about black voters, what does he say? Just how important are their votes?
Well, extremely important. I mean, the president, again, the president understands that when you rise the tide, all boats in the tides ride with it, right? Again, President Trump is not going to placate after one race. His heart is after the human race. And so when you do right by Americans, this is why the border is so important to close down, because minorities are affected more than really any community because we have a weak Joe Biden open border. Black men know when they look at the two-tiered injustice system that has happened to Donald Trump right now. They actually see themselves in this man. Donald Trump now for the first time knows what it's like to be a black man in America, because we have dealt with a two-tiered injustice system since we've arrived here.
At this recent event, the former president himself doubled down on the claims, comparing his own criminal indictments to the decades of legal discrimination black Americans have faced.
I got indicted a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time. And a lot of people said that that's why the black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against. And they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against. You see black people walking around with my mugshot. You know, they do shirts and they sell them for $19 a piece. It's pretty amazing. Millions, by the way, millions of these things have been sold. So I don't know if I'm proud of it or not proud of it.
So you've met black men who look at Donald Trump, see what's happening to him in terms of the indictments, and they instantly feel a connection.
Well, without a question. I mean, again, you see this across the country. And this is the word. Donald Trump now knows what it feels like to be a black man in America. So that's why you're having a high rate of black men polling now, starting to look at Donald Trump, not just because of the two-tiered injustice system, but also because of the economic empowerment that President Trump gave when he was president.
Let me get your shoe.
Oh, brother, thank you so much.
He has become a sort of celebrity-like figure at Trump's rallies.
I lift my hands and praise God for you, Pastor.
Glory.
That was an awesome speech.
Thank you so much, man.
His brash, unapologetic, and outspoken style has made him a symbol of conservative religious freedom. So what is it exactly that is driving black people like Betty to the Make America Great Again movement?
My husband, he has autism, and he was on the Trump train since day one. I got on board with him, and Trump is doing something for this country more actively than anyone else, I think, around.
Why would anybody vote for Biden? Like, how many times have you seen Biden fall? How many times have you seen him stutter? Again,
Trump's also had his mishaps. He's mistaken Nikki Haley for Nancy Pelosi.
They look alike.
The black community are waking up. We no longer, like they said, if you don't vote for me, you're in black. That doesn't play with us anymore. We can think for ourselves. We can make our own choices, our own decisions. And that's what I love about Donald Trump. He let us make our own decisions. He said, come and watch and see what I can do. And he delivered.
All he has to do is say, close the border, we got to get our country straightened out. And he doesn't. He wants to have some voting legislation passed, which actually makes it worse.
The Democrats can no longer rely on Trump's popularity as a candidate. If there's one thing that we've learned so far on this campaign, it is this. He knows the right things to say, he knows what his supporters want to hear, and he knows how to energize his crowd and get reaction like this. He often argues that the country is in chaos and presents himself as a savior. This might explain why he remains the frontrunner for the Republican presidential nomination. I've seen firsthand just how desperate the situation is at the U.S Mexico border, reporting for Good Morning Britain, meeting people coming across, some wanting a new life, others simply fleeing persecution.
Someone's going to die if I stay there. Because of
Since the start of Biden's presidency, Border Patrol has encountered more than 5.6 million migrants illegally entering the country. It's been described as a humanitarian crisis, with the president urging Congress to introduce tough new laws. I'm traveling to Las Vegas in Nevada, which has one of the largest percentages of undocumented immigrants in America.
Some Democrats are worried about this issue. It is an emotional and powerful one that is equally polarizing. No wonder why so many people are either fed up or feeling overwhelmed.
You were always on my mind.
On the famous strip, I met Raul, an Elvis impersonator who has been singing since he was 9 years old.
Tell me that your sweet love hasn't died.
The election is on his mind, but he says he has doubts about who to vote for. But Trump's promise to carry out the largest deportation in history is something that appeals to him.
These people are coming over here, and most of them have been sent to sanctuary cities, like Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. Those cities can't afford to have these people. They put in the 5-star hotels, 3 meals a day.
You believe that this country is being invaded?
Sure, it's been invaded by 150 different nationalities, yes. Countries that are enemy of the United States, Russia, they're coming over. What are they coming for?
You migrated from South America to this country. Why shouldn't people who are genuinely in need able to do the same?
They should do everything by the book.
While some may view Trump as being unfit for office, millions of voters disagree. I'm on my way to meet one woman who has vowed to do whatever possible to stop his re-election. Pat Spearman is one of Nevada's most senior Democrats who works closely with the Biden administration.
I am a veteran, having served almost 3 decades with the United States Army. I'm proud of my service, and that's what fuels my desire to make sure we protect this democracy.
You've had to fight a lot of battles throughout your career in the military. How does November's election compare?
One of the things that I had to do when I was commissioned as a second lieutenant was to raise my hand, and I swore an oath to protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign or domestic. And anyone who wants to dismantle our democracy, you're gonna have a fight on your hands.
He's made it clear that if he wins here in Nevada, then it's over for the Democrats.
We're not scared of him. The only thing his bravado does is it fortifies our resolve to make sure that this democracy is not handed over to a petulant child. And you will not win Nevada, because in Nevada, we're a whole lot smarter than that. In Nevada, we have people who are real patriots, not the ones that want to storm into the Capitol and shoot people and hang people. That's not patriotism. We have people in Nevada who honor the flag, who honor the oath. We have people in Nevada who understand what's at stake. And when we hear that, it fortifies our resolve. No, Mr. Trump, you will not win Nevada. No, you will not. Because we will fight to the death to make sure that everyone who is of voting age and has that privilege to vote, we will make sure that they understand this is a choice between democracy and fascism. That's what it is.
President Biden knows the stakes are high. He was recently here campaigning and even won the primary. But long-standing concerns about his age and memory intensified in recent weeks after the release of a special counsel's report investigating his possession of classified documents. The report described the 81-year-old's memory as poor and having significant limitations.
There's even reference that I don't remember when my son died. How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business.
It's almost humorous that the people who say that Joe Biden shouldn't be doing this because of his age never say anything about Trump's age. Never.
So despite all the concerns and mishaps, you are certain Joe Biden is mentally fit?
When I talk to him, he's fine. He's fine. But again, I say, these are people who want to focus on bringing down President Biden's ability to be president and to be reelected. If there were some lapses, there are people around him that could get back on course, get him back on course. But what I saw was not someone who was deficient mentally or intellectually. No. I saw someone who was capable.
Can I also ask you about Kamala Harris? Because I know you spent some time with her over the years. Why do you think a lot of people also see her as weak and not being fit for office?
If I were a white man in the military, I would have probably retired as a two-star general. But I was a black woman coming into the military just after the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps had been dismantled. Men didn't want women there, and they certainly didn't want black women there. And so I had to fight for everything that I got. I even had a superior officer ask me one time, how did a black gal, G-A-L, like you, become a major? And I said, sir, I worked for it. We're talking the 20th century, okay? And so for the people who want to continue to try to chip away at Vice President Harris, I say, go back and you show me what you have done for people. But until you can show me that you have done half the things that she's done, I don't want to hear that .com.
In just a matter of weeks, Donald Trump will walk inside this New York courthouse for his first criminal trial. Prosecutors charged him with 34 counts of falsifying business records, alleging he hid hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels. So what would happen exactly if the former president is convicted?
Will the hush money case be a big problem, do you think?
It's not the strongest case in the world, because in that case, it has to have an underlying state crime, and the underlying crime there is election fraud. In other words, he was defrauding the voters by not letting this woman tell her story, by giving her a payoff. So it's an election fraud, and that would be a case what we call a first impression, the first time that violation of the election laws is a predicate to the crime of the false filing.
Okay, say for example, if he is convicted, what would that look like?
He may be sentenced to jail too. Some judge may say, I'm not going to worry about the fact that he needs Secret Service protection 24 hours. He needs to be given a sentence of 5-10 years in prison. So that's what could happen. That's what it means to be convicted. You're a felon.
So you believe there is a real possibility he could end up in a jail cell?
Oh, absolutely, but it's not the judge who says he's guilty, it's the jury. As you know, in the United States here, all these cases will be tried to a jury, and the criminal cases, and the jury will decide guilt or innocence. If the jury says guilty, the judge has no choice. At that point, the judge's role is solely to impose the sentence. And if there's a mandatory minimum, which there were many times in my cases, I wouldn't have had a choice. I would have to give the mandatory minimum. But I don't think these counts carry a mandatory minimum.
To a lot of his supporters, they see these indictments as bogus. Do you believe there are judges plotting to take Donald Trump down?
Oh no, judges don't have that power. It's prosecutors who bring indictments. Prosecutors have to present evidence before a grand jury. The grand jury then issues an indictment.
Trump has denied the allegations against him, but despite all of this, he still stands a better chance of returning to the White House than at any point since he left office.
People who are saying he is dangerous and he is not good for America, well, you got to tell it to half of America right now. They must be dangerous and they must be not good for America either, because everywhere President Trump goes, he's packing out arenas. Donald Trump, without a shadow of a doubt, will be our Republican nominee, and he'll be the 47th president of the United States of America.
Biden should not be underestimated. He has previously defied the odds and says this time round his re-election campaign is a battle for the soul of America's future.
We are ready for the fight. This is a democracy worth fighting for, and I'm up for the fight.